Hello! Welcome to my first video where I talk about the monsters themselves instead of their equipment. Much like the equipment videos, these will focus more on the monsters you can hunt in low rank, since, again, that's the rank I play the most. However, this series will be more flexible with me being able to talk a bit about some high rank and even master rank monsters from time to time. The only downside is I often won't have as much experience with those monsters. To start things off, I would like to talk about the first monster I ever hunted in the series, as well as its related members. That's right, we're talking about the Dromes, and one other monster, but we'll get to that. Originating from the very first Monster Hunter game for PlayStation 2, we have Velocidrome. With no hesitation, I give Velocidrome an S. Top tier monster. Okay, yes, a lot of this has to do with my very personal bias. The original Monster Hunter has this atmosphere of mystery and threat. I don't recommend playing the very first game, but being a young teenager who didn't know much about the series at the time, Velocidrome left a very big impact on me. Just like its lesser pack members, Velocidrome has great vibrant blue scales with stripes, as well as a neat crest. The raptor-like design and behaviors really gave me this feeling of going into an older world that still had dinosaurs. Not to mention, these raptors were still threatening, especially early on. Now, is Velocidrome a hard monster to hunt? No. In fact, it's one of the easiest early game monsters in the series. Simple bite attacks and scratches are easy to dodge. Its most prominent way to attack being these high jumping strikes, which may make it a little annoying for some beginners to hunt if they're using a slower weapon. So while many people may not see it as anything special, Velocidrome will forever hold a place in my monster hunting heart. And it's a monster I look forward to seeing whenever it returns. Also, come on, Stories 2 lets you basically choose between a Velocidrome and a Kulu-Yaku as a starter monster. Of course I went with my favorite blue raptor. Okay, let's get this D tier monster out of the way next. Sorry people, but I don't care much for Eodrome. To be fair, its colors aren't too bad. A nice crimson red with black splotches, and I really do like the shade of purple on its crest. But I have very little love for this monster. The shape of Eodrome's head is off-putting to me, and they always seem to have much more health than what feels reasonable. What doesn't help the Dromes is that they are exact copies of Velocidrome in terms of their attacks, only getting a new spitting move. Being a poisonous creature certainly doesn't make things better, though there are poison-based monsters I really like. I should mention real quick that I won't be talking about Gendrome since I've only hunted it once as a mandatory hunt in Gen U's high rank. Here's what I very briefly have to say about it. A white palette swap of Velocidrome that kinda looks neat and spits sleep balls. Come back in a future game's low rank and I'll have more of a solid opinion on you. Otherwise, you're just a forgettable quest on my way to Valstrax. Why don't we move on to my favorite Velocidrome clone, Gendrome. Straight up B tier monster. Most of this has to do with its design. I actually really like the stripes along its body, combined with the dusty green scales. But by far, Gendrome has the best crest. Great fins atop its eyes, complemented by large fangs. Unfortunately, Gendrome fights, well, just like a Velocidrome, which holds it back. But now, those bite attacks have a greater threat to them. Eodrome specialized in poison, while Gendrome specializes in paralysis. Thanks to it being an easy monster to hunt, I think Gendrome makes for a great introduction to the paralysis status. Heck, it's gotten me a few times before. A simple but fun early desert monster in my book. Lastly, since I used Gen U to get my hunting footage for this video, I thought it'd be fun to take a look at the only new, early raptor-like monster introduced in the 4th generation, the Great Macau. Guess what? Macau is S tier for me as well. Macau is just one of the best early monsters in the whole series. First off, it's by far the most threatening of the early game raptors, consisting of a very diverse move pool. Claw strikes, hip checking, and even slamming its tail around like it's throwing some temper tantrum. Second, I love Macau's design. The emerald green feathers that adorn its body with some hints of yellow, a crest of bright yellow feathers like a crown on its head, and a thick spiky tail. Third, Macau is a great monster to practice weapons and hunting styles on, mostly due to that tail. Macau will often perch up on its tail to kick or intimidate opponents. Deadliest of all, Macau will lunge itself from the tail. Hunters caught off guard can expect to take a lot of damage from this when first hunting the monster. At the same time, this move can leave Macau open to well-timed strikes from greatsword or hammer that make you feel like a god when you pull them off. Even when Macau is perched up on its tail, you can trip the monster up by closing in on it and attacking. All of this gets sprinkled with a dash of personality. Macau has quite the presence with some rather expressive animations. Great Macau is just such a great, unforgettable monster for me, and it's sad it didn't get added to Stories 2 roster. For shame. I still love you, Great Macau, and I look forward to seeing you return in the future. That shall conclude this video, and I hope you found it entertaining, trying something different with this one. The next video I plan to do is going to be quite different from the norm. But for the next Monster Hunter video, we will either talk about some more early raptors, or take a look at the next set of equipment in 3U. Happy hunting, and take care!